conservatives are also hearing this. And they're extraordinarily scared that this might actually be the case, that Reagan might sort of give away SDI, right? That he might bargain away the Strategic Defense Initiative in exchange for nuclear reductions. And so conservatives actually, they're writing the administration, they're publishing sort of op-eds and criticizing the administration. And so Reagan actually has to have basically the grassroots leaders to the White House. And the major sort of conservatives in the Senate and the House, he has them to the White House, and he stands up in front of the group and he gives this nice, eloquent speech about how Mikhail Gorbachev is a new type of leader and they can trust him, right? He's Mr. Conservative. And he finishes, and there's silence. He's not used to that. Not from the people who are supposed to be his most adamant supporters. And when he leaves the room, there's a real sort of disconnect between conservative activists and President Reagan himself. He promises them, though, that he will not bargain away SDI at Reykjavik. And so when he shows up at Reykjavik and he and Gorbachev, it goes swimmingly well. I mean, the two are like talking about, Reagan at one point quips that, yeah, we can meet back here, right, in like 10 years and we'll destroy the last nuclear weapon together, Gorby, right? And it'll be just wonderful because all nuclear weapons will be gone, right? That's how optimistic Reagan is, that they're going to get something big at Reykjavik. And they pretty much outline a deal that would have been a major reduction or a complete reduction in intermediate weapons, but they break up. They go sort of, each group goes its separate way for just a moment to sort of regroup, talk it out, figure it out before they come back to the table to make a deal. And when they come back to the table, Gorbachev says, I have one condition. SDI must be limited to the laboratory for 10 years. If you will agree, Mr. President, to limit SDI to the laboratory for 10 years, we can sign this agreement today, go out and announce it to the press. Reagan is furious. Reagan is absolutely furious. He feels betrayed. There weren't supposed to be any conditions. And so Reagan puts on his sort of iconic white coat, right? And he leaves. He walks out. And conservatives hail Reagan for this achievement, right? For saying no, for sticking up for sort of SDI and conservative vision of sort of the missile shield and whatnot. The reality, though, I think, is that most people in the Pentagon would have told President Reagan and Secretary Shultz that SDI was probably more than 10 years away from being out of the laboratory anyways. And so I'm not convinced that walking away from the deal at Reykjavik really had any significant value, but it did for Reagan. He had promised conservatives he wasn't going to sell them out. He didn't sell them out.